Well, good day, friends. Welcome back to another Truth for Today. I'm Pastor Mike, coming to you from the Lighthouse Baptist Church here in Seagrove, and we hope today's devotional thought finds you doing well. We're taking our reading this morning out of the book of Job, chapter number 22. Job is one of the more well-known by name books of the Bible, and for the most part, we associate the book of Job with the suffering of a man that was righteous and loved the Lord, and also we know that really the premise of the book is the testing of a man of faith. In chapter 22 of the book is what I'm interested in this morning, and in that chapter 22, verse 21, if you know much about the book of Job, Job really is a series of conversations between Job and his three, eventually four friends. They have come to comfort him in the middle of his adversity, and so as you read through Job, you'll notice a lot of times when chapters change, there'll be a brand new friend of Job speak up. Well, in this chapter, Eliphaz, his friend, is speaking. Now, the bad thing about Job's friends is he had the kind of friends that nobody really needs. They were really, the way they treated him and talked to him, they were almost like enemies. That's why in the book he tells them they're miserable comforters. But in chapter 22, even though Eliphaz is speaking not from a place of knowledge, but from a place of presumption, and honestly, he's wrong in a lot of what he says. But in that chapter, he does make a true statement, even though he's in error in saying it to Job. He says in verse 21, "Acquaint now thyself with him," talking about God, "and be at peace, thereby good shall come unto thee." Eliphaz is accusing Job that the reason his life has fallen apart is because of the sin in his life. And what he's telling Job in verse 21 is this: agree with God and you can have peace. And I want to say this, even though the premise of why he said that was wrong, and what he said was right. If by chance Job had sin in his life, which he didn't, if he would agree with God over that sin and then get that sin right, then guess what Job could have? Peace. So even though Eliphaz was wrong, Job didn't have sin in his life. That's not why his life was experiencing the trial or the turmoil that he was going through. Job was a righteous man, loved God, eschewed evil, and so forth and so on. But I want to say this: if and when we find error in issue and sin in our life, the best thing to do, the thing to do the most expediently, is just agree with God over our sin. In other words, as Eliphaz says, acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. Can I say this today? There's a lot of time in our lives we go through unnecessary seasons of hardship and trial and adversity, and more than anything, lose our peace because there's something there that God would want us to deal with. We just will not recognize it or agree with him over it. So we stay in the cycle. The sad part about it, many times while we're in that cycle of having no peace and having no tranquility of life, we're praying to God to deliver us from that season over other areas we perceive as to be the reason why we're where we're at. But so many times it's just an issue of agreeing with God, acquainting, as the King James says, now ourselves with him. And can I say today, one of the greatest things we can do is whenever we find the Lord challenge us with truth, just agree with him. He's right, we're wrong. Agree with God. Do business with the Lord in whatever way that needs to come about, and experience peace again. It's worth it. It's worth every bit of it. So I hope today's devotional thought will instruct us, will challenge us, will encourage us to just agree with God. Agree with God, especially and always whenever he is pointing out error in our own life. Hope today's devotion will lead you to a pathway of experiencing and enjoying and walking in the peace of our God. And if that be the case, we know the Lord will richly bless you, and that is our prayer.